Hi, I'm Shelley Wood, and this is my tiny sewing room where I make doll clothes sewing videos. Today I'm going to show you how to make this pretty cotton and lace dress for 5-inch dolls like your vintage Strawberry Shortcake and similar sized dolls. This project is just for the dress, but if you want to make the bonnet too, I'll be talking about that at the end of this video, so be sure and stay with me at the end. You can also learn a little about my paid class at the end of this video. Okay, let's get started. Please go to my website, shelleywood.com, to download this free printable PDF sewing pattern. There's a helpful link in the description below this video on YouTube. Use your pattern to cut out the pieces shown here. Now, we'll cut the lace trim when we get to that part, but if you're wanting some kind of an adjusted idea of how much you'll need, you can use the skirt pattern to kind of estimate how much length you'll need. You'll also need to cut a swatch of lace fabric equal to the width of the skirt pattern. Alright, let's get started with the sewing. Lay one bodice front on top of another. Stitch around the neckline. Clip this seam and invert, which is what you see me doing here. Lay one bodice back on top of another bodice back, sewing along the neck and back closure areas. Clip and invert this piece as well. For these tiny pieces, I sometimes use a chopstick to help me with inverting. Just give it a little twist to try and get in the corners. Be very gentle though. Here I am clipping, and then I invert, and you'll see me use that chopstick with a little twist to get in the corner. Follow the same directions for the other back, so both backs are finished. Press both of your back pieces and the front. You want those seams to be nice and flat. Lay one bodice back on top of the bodice front, and then stitch across the shoulder area. Do the same for the other back. Next, open the bodice up like this, and you're going to want to press the shoulder seams so they flatten down. Now, the next few pictures were taken while I was on vacation and traveling, so I'm really sorry they're not brighter photos. Lay one of the sleeves against one underarm area and attach the sleeve sewing from the underarm to just shy of the shoulder seam. Then wrap it back around and attach the sleeve from the other underarm to just shy of the shoulder seam yet again. This is the same sleeve though. This will leave an open gap at the shoulder, and you want that. Gather the sleeve at the gap area until the gap between the two is the same length. Then finish attaching the sleeve to the shoulder. Here's a closer look at my finished stitches. Attach both sleeves this way. Next, we're going to measure some lace for sleeves. Fold your sleeve as if to hem, but only fold once, and baste stitch this sort of hem at the bottom of the sleeve. Then cut the lace trim to match the length of the bottom of the sleeve. You'll want to cut 2 lengths of lace, one for each sleeve. Lay the lace across the based stitch and sew it to the sleeve with a whip stitch. Follow the same directions for the other sleeve, attaching the lace. Fold the sleeve as shown and sew from the edge of the lace to the underarm and then down the side of the bodice, on both sides of your bodice. Keep your right sides together as you work. Invert the bodice. Now your bodice should look like this. Okay, let's work with the skirt for a little while. Create a double fold hem along the longest side of the fabric by folding once and then a second time. I prefer to use a whip stitch to hem, but you could use a sewing machine. Place the lace fabric over the top of your skirt and gather both lace and cotton skirt together, but leave a 1.5 centimeter ungathered edge on both sides of your skirt. Make sure your gathers are the same length as the bottom of the bodice, and here's how I do that. So again, you just want the gathers to match. I don't tie off my gathers until I've pinned the skirt to the bodice like so, leaving that extra bit of ungathered fabric on both sides of the skirt. Then I tie off my gathers, and at that point I stitch the skirt to the bodice using a back stitch and removing my pins as I go. Note there's extra skirt fabric on either side. I keep saying this because it's kind of important. It's starting to look like an angel's dress, which I love. Okay, now remember that extra bit of skirt I kept talking about? Create a double fold hem on each side of the skirt and whip stitch to close this off. Stitch from the waist to the hem. Do this on both sides of the dress's skirt, and then you're just about done. Now that you've finished all your stitching, run a row of snaps down the back, and you're ready to try it on a doll. For more free printable PDF sewing patterns, and for the instructions for making the little bonnet too, please visit my website, shelleywood.com. Have you ever come up with a really brilliant idea for making some doll clothes, but you just didn't know enough about how to design your own patterns? I'm Shelley Wood, the doll clothing designer, and I have a real gift for designing doll clothes that I'd like to share with you. In my Creative Spark class, How to Alter Doll Clothes Patterns, I'll introduce you to the basics of doll clothes pattern designs. You will learn how to alter patterns that you already own, how to lengthen and shorten a pants pattern, and how to turn pants into shorts. You'll also learn how to make a skirt more full or less full, and how the fullness of a dress's skirt can affect the fit of a bodice. You'll learn how to design your own waistband for skirts using your doll's measurements. But the real gem of my class is my resizing formula. And trust me, you don't have to be a math whiz to learn how to resize your doll clothes patterns. My formula can be used to make your patterns larger or smaller, depending on what you need. Whether you want to save money on the cost of buying commercial doll clothes patterns, or maybe you're sewing for a doll that you just can't find any patterns for, How to Alter Doll Clothes Patterns will help you design a wardrobe that will fit dolls of any shape or size.